Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Face to Face. Yours truly, Mr. Cannon Caprice.
That's me.
And in the studio once again, we have our main man, Majestic.
Appreciate y'all.
Welcome back, bro.
Thank you, King. Thank you. Appreciate y'all.
Welcome back. So, tell us about this podcast you got going on, bro.
Oh yeah, so the podcast is called the B&B Talks Network, and pretty much it's about Black and Brown communities in particular. We talk about social and economic issues that go on in our communities and things that we deal with on a regular basis that some people are not privy to.
Right.
And also we try to educate people from youth to adults to elders about the things that go on and ways we can fix them. It's more so like here's the issue and here's the solution, kind of like, or like an attempt to try to like drive to a solution. It leaves the room open for conversation for it.
How long have you been doing this podcast?
So I've been doing that podcast for, I say like a month, like two months now. I really started it because I felt like there was a lot of misinformation from like memes and stuff that you see on Instagram, Facebook, and whatnot. And I do a lot of reading, I do a lot of research. You know what I'm saying? And I felt that it's a need in our community to speak to these things and leave conversation open. You know what I'm saying? That's why like a lot of my podcasts too, I leave sources so people can also have these conversations with them and say, hey, listen, he left the source. Let's go check this out. You know, .gov. Okay, so we see the numbers. Okay, so what do we do about that? Right. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of there's a lot of things that are going on outside of not even just, you know, when we talk about these things, we talk about white people, this, that. Right. And I definitely agree with that, but we also have to have conversation with ourselves and know how to communicate these things with other people. You know what I'm saying?
Where did this passion come from? Like, where did you decide I'm gonna, try to be a voice?
I'm gonna be So, me growing up, I had issues with trying to figure out if I was Black or if I was like Hispanic, because my mom is half Hispanic, my dad's fully Black and whatnot, and I had a lot of issues because there was a lot of differences and a lot of things going on when it came to that. So like for me, once I kind of like doing research, I found out like my name, like where my name comes from. You know what I'm saying? Like understanding like where my family was, how we started in Virginia on a field. You know what I'm saying, in Lundenburg, Virginia, and understanding that we got roots traced to a lot of that stuff, and I was able to. For me, it was closure. For me, it was like an idea of like closure and me identifying who I was. Like one time, I was in the whip with my step pops, and we was talking about like I was telling him about my identity issues and stuff like that, because sometimes when you Black, just in general, when you Black, you feel like. You know what I'm saying? I feel, excuse me for a second, it's like I'm, you know what I'm saying? I'm just processing, that's why I'm looking at y'all.
Yeah, I get it.
But you feel, I don't know, I don't want to say if you feel bad about being Black, man, but it's just like, you just don't want to associate your person with that.
I understand.
You know what I'm saying? He was like, yo, man, like, then you Afro-Latino or you, but you Black. You know what I'm saying? That's how you identify. When people pull you over, and I was telling her, I don't want to identify as just the color and stuff like that. So, that kind of thing, it irritated me enough to say I got to do more research and find out where we came from and what we are. So once I found that out, that right there empowered me more so to say, you know what I'm saying? It's important that we educate other people about what they come from, who they are as people. You know what I'm saying? Because we're more than just color. You know what I'm saying? We're people that's been detached from our culture, you know what I'm saying? And it's important that we understand, okay, we've been detached from that, but what are we going to do about this here and build on top of that? And then maybe at some point we can manifest our, and find something outside of just the color, you know what I'm saying?
Do you feel as though the community is on the verge of a big change right now? Just like, are we, starting to identify ourselves or
a little better,
basically touch on our roots or where we came from, or finding our culture or rediscovering our culture?
A little better. I think it's still very important that you if you have like I'm blessed to still have both my parents alive, like my biological parents, like my biological father's here and stuff. Like I'm blessed to have my mother's still here, you know what I'm saying? I still could reach out to both of them, you know what I'm saying? If you can find out information about that part of your family outside of things that you read in books, I think that's important, man. I think the detachment from fathers in the crib from where you at is kind of like it's debilitating. You know what I'm saying? Like I think it's, I don't know, man. Like I can't say it's getting better or worse. Like from what I see, it's, I don't know, man. It's so hard
We
to
still
say.
have work to do, is what
Yeah,
you're
we got a
saying.
lot. We got a lot to do, man. I mean, when you know what I'm saying? Like I think marching is cool, but I think we have to get to the point where like we actually start doing stuff as a people. Like if you have a business, support my business.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
don't ask me for a hookup.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like, and we gotta, and like instead of selling the weed on the corner now because it's legal, why not we all get together, get a lawyer? We all got a little money in our pockets. Get together. Let's go to a lawyer. Let's talk about starting a dispensary in the city.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then you sold weed or whatever it is, you sold marijuana, so I bet. So I work this shift. You know what I'm saying? You work this shift. That's really buying your block because now my taxes going towards my kids. Going towards my kids' schooling and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Like that's I mean, but there's also things that go on in the government and stuff like that kind of,
A lot of red tape.
yeah,
that
there's a lot
stops
of red
us from
tape with
doing it,
that,
yeah.
but it starts with us kind of like opening the conversation and saying, yo, let's, you know what I'm saying? Instead of buying this, how about we buy a storefront and let's get an online business together or something like that.
Even starting the conversation, you still have to have like-minded people
Yeah.
to do that. And what I find, especially in my community, is it's not a lot of that.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of brothers speaking like you.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
it's just not a lot. So how do we do this? How does one get around finding the people who are willing to make the change and start something like that?
It starts with the culture itself as far as like what we digest as a people. You know what I'm saying? Like the music for one. You know what I'm saying? It's good to indulge in some of that stuff, but with some of those low frequencies and whatnot sometimes hit you a different way when you're talking about what you're talking about. It's not so much the music itself, but it's what you're saying in the music.
Yeah.
So it starts with that, like making it cool to say, you know, don't call that woman a B word. You know what I'm saying? Don't call me, you know, and again, you know, this is all culturally based, you know what I'm saying? But like, don't call me an N-word. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, for me, nigga is no different from Negro, and Negro was not that much different from nigga in the fields. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, we all know that's a cultural based kind of like thing where we use it amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
But it's like we have to start calling ourselves things that kind of like relate to like wealth, development, and growth. You know what I'm saying? It starts with the way we talk to each other, how we treat each other. Like I was saying from before, like, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a high suicide rate amongst our men. You know what I'm saying? So how do we prevent that? Well, actually saying hello to each other, being nice to each other, being respectful, showing each other support when we need it.
I agree with that, but you know, we in Brooklyn, Bronx.
It starts off with like just a conversation, getting a small group of people, like, you know what I'm saying, getting a block of people and be like, yo, this is what we doing, come join us. A lot of times when those people join gangs and stuff like that, it's because they want to feel a part of something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they see big homie with the chains and the whips and stuff like that. Y'all want the same joint. You know what I'm saying? But not realizing you can get the same joint without having to do what they doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just, and that's why I did the podcast and the network, was because it shows that there's other opportunities out there outside of the stuff that we're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been through some stuff that could have led me to some really dark choices. You know what I'm saying? But thank God I had certain men in my life to kind of like upbring that. And that's another thing too. Like, it all starts with the men in the community.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I'm
with
saying?
that,
Like,
yeah.
I got my step pops, I got my father here. You know what I'm saying? Like, my father talks a lot about development amongst men in the community. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got my step pops. He does a lot of work in the schools and stuff like that, talking to young black men, because they don't have the men in the crib and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Black fathers matter. You know what I'm saying?
Of course,
Yeah.
So I think it also starts with that, having that, you know what I'm saying, having that stable figure. Like, instead of having like your moms yell at you some of the time, sometimes having your father just have a stern conversation with you saying, yo, that's not something you should be doing.
Right.
Yeah, it hits
You know what I'm
different.
saying? Yeah, like,
definitely,
because
yeah.
there's a firm stance and figure there, like, yo, check this out. Because for men and women in general, sometimes you don't need a judgment. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of times when we talk to people, we feel judged.
Yeah.
So it's like, if my father comes down and talk to me, or my step pops come down and talk to me, say, yo, let me talk to you for a minute. Let me tell you why such and such is wrong, and let me tell you what that could lead to. Sometimes we just told that it's wrong with the expectation that we're going to stop that. But that's not really going to stop it.
No.
You know what I'm saying? It's a matter of like, why is it wrong?
Yeah.
Otherwise, who are you to tell me what's wrong what I'm doing?
Right.
Just for like hard-headed individuals like myself, like you can't just like tell me something. I'm still gonna do it and learn the hard way. You know what I mean? But without those avenues of, this could happen, or A, B, and C, and I'm like, oh, well, I don't like any of those.
Yeah.
So I might want to stay away from it. Yeah, but you're right though.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely
important
right.
to draw like some of those lines and stuff like that. And for even men, men draw certain lines for certain, for kids. The way it's like, yo, I feel that that you're doing your thing and whatnot, but this is a line we can't cross.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I respect for my father and stuff like that, but there was lines that was like, yo, it's cool, we can have these kind of conversations, but this line you can't. And us as men need to start doing that in our communities. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, it's cool that you doing what you're doing, just don't do this here. Just don't do that there. You know what I'm saying? That's where it really starts,
I really agree. I appreciate you for being the voice and putting it out there like that, because you're right. Yeah, everything that you said is absolutely true. Absolutely true.
It's true. Like also the financial literacy, teaching our kids how to invest from a young age.
Yeah.
We don't do we don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that comes
people
from
do
us
that.
not realizing some of the power that we have in real estate and things that we can buy. You know what I'm saying? Like, my stepfather, my pops, he got me a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah, Rich Dad.
And that's kind of like where, like, because I was always a heavy reader. He just gave it to me.
Right.
And that's one of the craziest, the greatest thing you can give people is just knowledge. Sometimes you giving it to them, it's like, okay, you got it, but what it creates is like a hobby where, like, you keep knocking on that person's door, asking them again for more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But the opposite thing that created for me was he gave me the book, and then I sought out more information on financial literacy, which compelled me to get a financial advisor.
Right.
And so some of my knowledge I got from that as well, you know what I'm saying? And then it kind of like grew from that. So like for me as a kid, my mother caught me one time. I was up. Y'all would know about this. So like the VCRs used to have cable channels on it. So I used to stay up late at night and I used to watch the ticker.
Ticker?
Yeah, like they used to have like a little thing going on there talking about this is how it closed, like the date closed today or whatever.
Oh, okay. Stocks. Okay.
Yeah, stock, yeah.
I think you on the VCR. I'm like,
And my mother was like, oh, she caught me one day. That's really was one of them nights where the days you wasn't supposed to not be up watching television.
Yeah.
Oh, one day you made me rich. So that kind of like, where like that ideology came from, where it's like, yo, man, I'm really obsessed with this stuff, man. And that's kind of like where that financial kind of like thing kind of came from. I got to say something real quick too. What kind of kills me is like, it's just a side quote. I just said this to somebody, like, how do we realize that there's power in numbers when it comes to money, but not realize that there's power in numbers when it comes to people?
It's backwards.
Yeah.
It's really backwards. It's really bad. But again, it's just that togetherness, that mindset. We don't have that.
But isn't it saying they say there's strength in numbers or something like that?
Yeah, it is.
Something like that.
But again, we have to all be in the same mindset.
Yeah.
Like, and that is, we're so divided in our community. So divided. We're not together at all.
I think a part of that comes from us thinking that we all have to have a monolithic ideology towards things. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times, like, okay, like, say one person likes Marcus Garvey, the other guy likes Malcolm X. I have a different way of doing it, but that doesn't necessarily mean I got to do it the way you do it.
But see, and even that just sounds like the lacking of acceptance of others, which is, again, it's like creating more boundaries, unnecessary
Do you think
boundaries.
it's that because our people don't want to come together? It's like everyone wants to stand out in terms of do their own thing.
I don't.
I gotta be better. I gotta be better than you.
I think that's one
I gotta
thing.
have the better car than you.
I think that's one thing, and that comes from a cultural thing. Because when we're slaves, or when we come from where we come from, like if you have the light skinned person in the house, he gets treated better. So that means if I get something that's symbolic to me looking better than him or being better than him, I'm on the same level as that person. Like I said, one of my songs, I said, being rich is a trend and wealth's a lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? I think the problem is not so much that we don't want to come together. It's just that I had something I was gonna say, but I can't remember. But it's like mostly it's mostly a knowledge. It surrounds around knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Like just kind of like having an understanding of like, okay, like this is what, you know. So here's the issue. What do we do about that issue? You know what I'm saying? It's like I think that's part of what it is. I think that's part of what it is. If I remember the other thing I was gonna say, you know what I'm saying, I'll definitely bring it back to that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Because you see in our community, you see the Jews, they stick together in terms of like, you'll see them in buying buildings and buying property in our neighborhood. Like, they can afford it by themselves. One Jew could buy it by himself. Another
Jewish
Jew,
people.
yeah.
Come on now.
But they would, yeah,
You want to get canceled? What are you doing?
but they'll get together and they'll go half and half on a building.
Yeah.
When both of them they could buy it by themselves, you know.
Yeah.
But they get together and say, you know what, this is $10 million for this building.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I 5 and you 5. We all know you could pay 10 and I could pay 10 straight off. But
Facts.
they rather come together and just go half and half on it, and then use the other half to go buy another building for someone else.
Yeah, and that's the era that we have.
And then you see the kids when they have the supermarkets. The kids are working in the supermarkets, as cashiers and stuff like that, until they get older, and then they pass on the business to them.
Right.
Right, and that's the thing. It's like we have to understand, like as a people, that no, we're not always going to necessarily agree. I may wash the dishes one way with cold water. You may wash it with hot water. That's fine. You know what I'm saying? But we all have a similar. We should all have like a similar outlook on things. Like saying, okay, the way we get there is different, but the outcome we want it to be the same. And you know what I'm saying? I think that's just what it is. And kind of like the symbolic ideology of like having money and looking rich and being, you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all think because we got a Louis belt, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That you rich, but at the end of the day, that belt's probably gonna be worth $200, but you bought it for $400.
Well, yeah.
So how do you feel about the term "fake it to make it"? Then, is that out the window?
I don't know. You know, I mean, if you want confidence is definitely
It's important.
It's very important. You know what I'm saying? But also understanding where you're going. You know what I'm saying? Don't lose yourself so much that you kind of miss where you're going.
Right.
My father always used to have this thing where it's like, he used to tell me, yo, you walking into a wall. I seen the wall. You finna hit the wall. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Bars.
But if you stay on the track, you know what I'm saying? If you make a plan and and not to say that you're always going to be on that track. You're always going to lose your footing. You're going to lose the wheels is going to lose the bearing and stuff like that. But like, okay, if it flips over or something happens to the wheel, you get a couple people help you up and it's on track again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're not going to go on this track because you already know, okay, I need to make it to this destination, not that one. You know what I'm saying? So like, I say it's important to just have a plan when it comes to that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I agree.
What's your thoughts on the Black Lives Movement? Black Lives Matter. Yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
We'll skip that.
Me, I think it's
You can sugarcoat it a little bit.
nah, because the thing is, I don't sugarcoat.
You don't sugarcoat?
Yeah. So for me, it's got a little. It's. I like the idea. I like the idea behind it. I like but the organization itself,
It's a little.
Yeah, for me, marching is played. You know what I'm saying? Just the same thing as like us killing each other, shooting each other, telling us we this, that. It's played out. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we need to start working towards economic development and resources being redistributed amongst our people. You know what I'm saying? And it has to be from us. We can't. You know what I'm saying? We can't keep dependent on someone else to kind of like do that. I mean, it's also, you know what I'm saying? But it's also good to have like other people who are allies and support of us. But we have to do the groundwork ourselves. It has to start with us.
For sure. That was good.
So on your podcast, you had a lady who deal with you mentioned her earlier.
Yeah, Dr. Dooley.
Dr. Dooley. What is
Neuro.
She does neuro and she does she's a psychiatrist.
Right.
And but she mostly focuses on that and we were just kind of like just chop because when I reached out to her, it was mostly like we were trying to help get rid of or help kind of like dilute something like that idea where it's not okay to seek out help for your issues. It's not okay to like not talk about your issues because it ends up harboring into something else like rage or anger. You know what I'm saying? And resentment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And those are not really healthy things you live with. You know, and you kind of start taking it out on like kind of like how animals do it. Like, you know how Freud had the bell every time he would ring it and the dog would come.
Yeah, I heard
thinking
about
it was,
that.
yeah. You know what I'm saying? So now I kind of like think of like, okay, if we don't deal with
Pavlovian response, is that what you said?
I don't remember what it was called.
Yeah.
But if
That's how I remember.
Something
Yeah,
like
sounds familiar. Yeah.
yeah, but if like you equate issues all the
Equate issues,
time
yeah,
with,
there's
with,
some-
with
yeah.
people who look like you, that's where that disassociation of like, oh, I'm not black, I'm this and I'm mixed with that, and you don't accept yourself as a person. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's kind of like that. You know, that's why kind of like we started talking about the mental health stuff because it's a big issue in our community that we don't feel comfortable talking about.
Right.
Because you know, you call somebody.
You get clowned.
Yeah, you're a clown.
Yeah.
Well, you got this wrong with you. Oh, you look crazy.
Yeah.
Bro. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Or if you're black and they say, you know, you call you a coon,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes.
We're really aggressive toward each other.
I mean,
You know what I mean? In our community.
We are, yeah.
We're very aggressive toward each other. And it can be fun sometimes, because I don't mind
Yeah,
the
a
aggression.
couple
But
of banter, yeah.
you know, that's fine. But, like, when it's stopping somebody's growth, like, because you don't know, your words have power
Yeah.
behind them. And you could say something to someone that'll really shut them down. And not want to like open up about things like mental health. You know, what if that person was confiding in you or whatever the case is, and now then we just clown them like that?
Yeah.
It's just weird. We shouldn't do that at all, but we do it. You know, and it's not cool.
Yeah,
It's not cool.
it's sad, you know, and that's why I felt like it was important for us to talk about these kind of things. You know, I have family members that deal with this stuff as
Yeah.
well. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's a healthy start. I think the thing is like opening the conversation for healing within ourselves to where we can kind of like personify that amongst people. And our groups will be to help build us as a whole.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where it starts as a psychological, but then it ends up translating to something on a sociological base. You know.
and what's the name of this podcast, by the way?
B&B Talks. So the network itself is called B&B Network,
Yeah.
Black and Brown Network, and then B&B Talks is like a piece of it.
And how can people get in contact? You know, check it out.
They can go on YouTube. Yep, you
yep.
can go on YouTube, type in Matthew MJT Hardy, or you could type in B&B Talks. This is only going up to 10 episodes.
Only 10?
Okay.
Yeah, so this is going to be for this season. Next, after that, I'm actually planning on getting some other people to do their part. And every month, they'll come on and talk about stuff because we wanted to get into women health, the miscarriage rate amongst our women. You know what I'm saying? The malpractice that goes on with our people, or like the dismissal and the medical field that goes on amongst our people, and the redlining. So we want to actually get other people that are in that field to talk about some of that stuff. So I'm gonna leave space for that as well.
Do you speak on education at all?
Yeah.
Because I
that's-
think that's important.
That's coming up. So, excuse me. We spoke about real estate. We spoke about owning your business,
Right.
and especially in music. If you want to do music, you know, we spoke about you know, like the stuff that goes on in psychology in the psychology world. So our next step is to talk about buying a car. You know, like what kind of credit, what are they looking for? Like, what's the down payment if you're paying cash? What's the kind of conversation you're having with the salesman and the person who's buying the car?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, these are important things that we really don't know, you know? And I feel like that's important in our community because there's tons of people in our community who take public transportation who would prefer to buy a car but don't have the credit, don't have the means, or know how to get a car. Or they always buy really bad cars.
Right, that's,
You know, so, you know, I feel like it's a very important conversation. And then we're also going to get into, like, you know, again, like we said, education. But it's mostly going to be specifically tailored to black and brown people.
Yeah.
So you can touch on a little bit of everything.
Yeah, yep, that's the idea.
The most important,
Yep.
important things.
Yeah, the most important things and the things that mostly affect our community as a whole.
Yeah.
So you're being the voice to better the community. That's good. I like it.
I'm only a start, and to be honest with you, I don't really like to take credit for it. I like to say that I'm mostly a product of the people and the things that surround me. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like having these conversations with my step pops, having these conversations with my pops, with my moms and stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff that kind of like, okay, that sparked an idea in my mind. You know what I'm saying? Because me and my step pops, we actually had these conversations a lot, and we talk a lot about like yo, like what do you think of this and what do you think of that? Yeah, like we literally like, and we, you know, we play devil's advocate sometimes. It's like, okay, so there's the issue. How do we figure this out? What do we do about this? You know what I'm saying? And so that's kind of like where those ideas and stuff like that come from.
Would you say that your family is like really strong pillars in your upbringing and the way that you think now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My dad is very old-fashioned. My biological dad is very old-fashioned. My mother is I like it. My mother used to have me read the dictionary, man. That's how it was. Like when we was like if we was like playing around in the house and whatnot, it was like, yo, since you got time to play, come over here and come copy these words, like copy like 10 words down or whatever. Like, and then I would have to write them out 10 times and remember the definition of them, and then she would test me, and if I didn't know them, I'd write them 20 times. Yeah, so that's kind of like where some of that stuff comes from. So, you know, my mother was, she was strong. She was strong.
That helped you in your music too, the dictionary and
Yeah,
you know,
good
stuff?
question.
It did. Like,
In terms of new words and
I was
flowing?
around it, man, because like when my cousin rapped, you know what I'm saying? So he was huge influence on that. Like my cousin, Rakim, Jay-Z. My mother played Jay-Z like nonstop. My mom played Nas. And Kanye. So that came from me later on, you know what I'm saying? But like a lot of the old guys, and my pops plays a lot of like old style hip hop and stuff like that. So that's kind of like some of the stuff that kind of like
KRS One.
it helped me out a lot, and also what they were talking about in their music kind of influenced me a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Any R&B influences?
Yes. My mother used to play Donnell Jones. She played Mary J. Blige. She played. She played like everything you can, Shy, anything you can name under the sun. Johnny Gill. Those were like
Babyface.
Babyface. She played. She had the CD with the RCA on it. I'm like, oh, Usher. She like Usher.
Babyface is dope.
Usher, you know what I'm saying? And she also had a twist of music, so she played like country here and there. And,
Nice.
yeah, and mind you, it was different for us because we this is when we went from the Bronx, Porac Street in Yonkers, and then we went over the Palisade in Yonkers. So for us, it was different to hear this kind of music because that's not the kind of music we used to. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you born and raised in the Bronx?
I was born in the Bronx and I was raised through Yonkers, and then they moved me upstate. You know what I'm saying? I was getting into some stuff, so my mother decided, say, all right, you know, time for a change of scenery.
Yeah.
I came back down, went to school while I was with my pops for a little bit, and then I came back up.
I have just gonna throw this out there. I really want to know, are you happy where you are now?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I'm good I'm content where I'm at, but I know that there's work to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you were asking me, am I happy with myself? Yeah.
Yeah. Are you happy with the artist that you are, the man that you are, the human that you are? Are you? I'm
happy who I'm becoming, but you know what I'm saying? I don't want to say I'm finished yet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like the people that surround me is who makes me who I am and makes me a better person every day. You know what I'm saying? So there's always things that I'm constantly learning. You know, like when I speak to my step pops about things and I say, yo, like I have this thought in my mind. He say, yo, have you ever considered this? Or have you ever thought about this? And it just, sometimes I'm very reluctant to like take it in at first. You know, I'm like, nah, I ain't listening to that. I ain't finna listen to that. And then I go back home like, oh, okay, I kind of like see. Or like the same thing with my pops. You know what I'm saying? When I speak to him and we have these conversations, and it's like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Have you thought about this and do this, or you know, like all? So it's like I have ways to go. You know what I'm saying? But as far as like identifying with myself as an individual, and I think that's where why I want to do it for other people is because I've learned to be that. You know what I'm saying? I still have my days. You know what I'm saying? But it's not so much the situation, but it's kind of like what you do with it.
Right.
Like I told a supervisor one time, I said, your position doesn't make you, you make your position.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm still growing, I'm still developing. I'm happy with who I'm becoming, and I'm hoping that at some point that'll manifest into my kids and manifest into other people around me, and they'll see that and they'll be like, all right, what I'm saying? It's all about growth.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, do you have any kids?
No, not yet.
Okay, not yet. Okay.
Yeah.
You want children?
Yeah, yeah.
How many do you want?
2.
Boys or girls?
Boy and girl.
You want a boy and
Yep.
girl? Nice. Now you say it's very obvious that you have these strong structures, these pillars in your life.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say to people who are listening or possibly watching this right now, who don't have that? Who aren't blessed with a stepfather and a father, and like all of these influences in your life. Like, what do you say to them? Where do they go to? Like, who can they look at? Like, what do you say to them? Because we have a lot of that. Like, they're just running around in the community, very lost, and they're hungry for the knowledge, but they don't have it. So, what do we do?
I gotta say 2 things to that. I think that's part of the reason why we we act the way that we do is because sometimes we're looking for it. We're looking for acceptance, and sometimes we just don't know how to process it. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you're a certain age, you deal with things. I said it on my, it's actually a scripture from the Bible, and my father used to say it to me. He's active in the church, where it's like, when I was a kid, I thought like a child, I acted like a child, I reasoned like a child, but when you became a man,
You put away childish things.
you put away childish things. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I think a lot of times us acting out is looking for help. And I think what I would tell people in those kind of situations is talk to different people, get different perspectives, read. Reach out to people in your school. If you're black or brown, I'm not trying to be like discriminatory, but I think this is necessary. That if you can't find a black mentor,
Right.
find someone in the school. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't dismiss what that person is there for. A lot of times, some of those teachers are there to really help you find out their intent. It's difficult too when you're a kid and you're dealing with those kind of things.
Yeah.
But I think it's important because I don't know. I really can't tell you where I would be. I really can't. I honestly don't think it'd be in a good place. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I didn't have people to call when I needed them, and when I was down and out, I can't stress the importance of it.
Yeah, it's a very cool world.
And
like
it helps. Yeah, it's extremely cold, and you need even if they can't give you anything, like if they can't give you like something monetary, or they can't give you something that's like an object or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It's just having that person there to just say, "Yo, I got this going on." You drop the phone, you feel 10 times better, man.
Yeah, the listening aspect of it, where you can just unload and feel lifted,
free,
free of it. Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
so I would definitely say look for someone, if you can, look for someone in your church, look for someone in school, reach out to people who you think have your best interest at heart.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And look for people that look like you, because it's not a discriminatory thing. And sometimes you can find teachers, because I've had teachers like Mrs. Mahoney and stuff. They were extremely influential in my life. But some people don't understand it like the person who's actually dealt with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people can get their skin tan, but they could never wear the experience that we experienced.
Right.
You know, so I say that's very important. Look for people in your school. Look for people in your church. If you can find them, speak with them. I had called him my uncle. He passed away from COVID.
Sorry to hear that.
And thank you. And he meant a lot to me. And I was going through a lot at the time and stuff like that when I actually ran into him, and I couldn't tell you where I would be.
Right.
I couldn't.
Right.
So that's important.
It's very important.
So before we wrap it up, any last words you wanna say?
I just want to say, keep strong. If you're going through something, keep strong. Stay positive as best as you can. Distance yourself from negative energy where you can. You know what I'm saying? Or just have a healthy balance of it, where some people are doing what they're doing, but always define yourself as an individual. When you walk into that room, don't wonder if people like you. Wonder if you like that group of people. You know what I'm I'm saying?
Oh, if I had the bell.
Ding, ding, ding.
So define yourself as an individual, find yourself, know yourself, educate yourself. You know, don't just see something and believe it. Read into
Oh
it.
yeah, that's a fact.
And look for the right people. Not everyone that came on this journey is gonna be with you to the end. So, you know what I'm saying. But again, it comes to that thing where if it doesn't coincide with what you're doing, it's gonna be in part of. So it's like just continue to grow, stay focused, and meditate and find your way, man.
Great words from Majestic the God.
Even his words are majestic. Okay?
Well, brother, it's a pleasure having you on the show once again, man.
Appreciate you, baby. Appreciate you.
I plan on having you on again.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm here, man. I'm here. Appreciate you.
I got goosebumps.
All right, this wraps up another episode of Face to Face. Yours truly, Mr. Canic Priest. That's me. Take care and God bless.
Appreciate you.